Many adults over 60 assume strokes strike without warning, like a bolt from the blue. But the reality is far more gradual. What appears sudden is usually the result of slowly rising tension inside the body, fading internal signals, and a nervous system that's losing its natural rhythm. But stay with us throughout today's episode, because there's encouraging news. Just a few seconds of simple daily practice, done regularly, can restore the calm, steady foundation your brain relies on to protect itself. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where science meets wisdom and personal experience guides the way. Today, we're exploring a topic almost never discussed: how gentle daily habits can lower stroke risk after 60, without the use of medication. And here's something worth paying attention to. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Stroke and Cerebrovascular Diseases found that poor nervous system regulation, especially weak vagal tone, is closely tied to increased stroke risk in older adults. Yet very few seniors are ever taught how to strengthen this system. To help us change that, joining me again is a man who has guided thousands of older adults in preventing strokes. Now past 100 years old, he still shows up for this community every day. Doctor, welcome back. Thank you, John. These days, most people believe strokes are only about blood flow, blocked arteries, high blood pressure, or cholesterol. But the deeper truth is that stroke risk begins inside the nervous system, in the quiet breakdown of communication between the brain, the heart, and the rest of the body. Once that communication falters, everything else starts to unravel. That really makes me stop and think, because it flips our usual approach. We obsess over numbers, blood pressure, cholesterol, medications, but rarely question what controls those numbers. We forget to ask how the body keeps itself in balance to begin with. Exactly. That's the missing link. We've been treating the body like separate parts, when in reality it's an interconnected system. Your breathing, your heartbeat, your brain's sense of safety, they all communicate constantly. And when that communication grows stronger, the conditions that lead to strokes weaken. So it's not just arteries or the heart. It's the entire feedback loop that keeps every system working smoothly. Yes, and in this episode, I'm going to walk you through 3 simple techniques any senior can do to reinforce that loop. No pills, no equipment, just brief daily movements anyone can perform in less than a minute. Together, they help the body settle down, rebalance, and safeguard the brain before trouble begins. Doctor, how critical is it that listeners stay through the entire episode? Very important, John. I hope everyone stays with us to the end, because even if these exercises sound small, the why behind them matters. Talking about strokes always reminds me of one of my former patients, a 73-year-old man. Healthy, active, no major problems. One day he felt what he thought was a small bout of dizziness on the stairs. It turned out to be a mini stroke. A few days later, a full stroke hit. He was unconscious and spent a week recovering in the hospital. He later said he wished he had known these simple techniques beforehand. I can imagine. The body always gives signals, and the techniques we're about to share help the nervous system remember how to respond. So let's begin. What's the very first step someone can take right now to start protecting themselves? Well, John, the first step is almost shockingly simple. But don't underestimate it. It involves one of the most powerful muscles we have, the tongue. Yes, the tongue. Most people never consider how influential it is, yet the position it rests in and the way it moves can send signals throughout the entire nervous system. And when you place it in a very specific spot for just a few seconds each day, it quietly activates a system in the body that plays a major role in lowering stroke risk, easing tension, and restoring equilibrium. That's amazing. So, how does someone actually do it? Is there a correct position? Yes. Here's how. Gently press the tip of your tongue against the roof of your mouth, right behind your front teeth. Not firmly, just lightly enough to feel the touch. While holding it there, breathe slowly in through your nose and exhale even more gently through your mouth. Continue this for roughly 10 seconds. What you're doing is stimulating a nerve that influences your heart rate, digestion, and overall calm, the vagus nerve. That's the same nerve you've mentioned many times before, the one linked to relaxation, blood pressure, and inflammation, correct? Exactly. The vagus nerve is the body's natural calming switch. It runs from the base of the brain down through major organs, and when it's activated, the body slips into what we call the parasympathetic state. That's when the heart rate drops, blood vessels relax, inflammation lowers, and most importantly, the body is shielded from the internal strain that can lead to a stroke. So this tiny tongue exercise can start undoing years of nervous system stress? Yes, as long as it becomes a daily habit. It's not a miracle cure. It's more like a small daily reset. Pressing that reset button over and over helps the body relearn how to stay steady under pressure. That's where true prevention begins. And the funny thing is, most people hardly ever notice what their tongue is doing. That's exactly the point. It's simple. No tools, no prescriptions, no appointments. Just awareness. In Japanese traditional practice, we say the quietest actions often bring the deepest healing. That's powerful, because it shifts the focus. We're not trying to repair something broken. We're reminding the body of something it forgot. Correct. Modern life keeps our nervous system stuck in high alert, even when nothing is wrong. Over time, that strain adds up. Vessels tense, signals weaken, and eventually the system gives out. But taking just a few calm breaths each day lets the body recover before things go too far. And you've seen this kind of change often? Many times. I've had older patients tell me they sleep better, feel steadier on their feet, and notice their thinking gets clearer, all from beginning with this simple routine. It doesn't replace medical treatment, of course, but it supports the body in ways medicine can't always reach by teaching the system how to regulate itself again. So if someone tries it today for the first time, what might they feel? Some people feel calm almost instantly. Others notice deeper breathing or a bit more quiet in their mind. The real shift happens with repetition, though, because what you're actually doing is waking up a pathway the body hasn't used in a long time. That's incredibly empowering, a tiny habit most people would overlook, yet strong enough to change how the body reacts to daily life. And once the body starts reacting differently, everything else slowly begins to shift. I'm starting to see it clearly now. It's not about the size of the action, it's about what it influences. And that naturally leads to the next question, John. If the tongue can do all that, what else are we overlooking? What we're overlooking, the doctor said, is our own voice. Not the words, but the vibration, the sound. The next method I teach doesn't use spoken words at all, but it does rely on a sound that rises from deep inside the body. It's simply humming. And when it's done with purpose, it becomes one of the strongest ways to reset the nervous system. A soft hum, combined with steady breathing, can stimulate the vagus nerve even more deeply than the tongue exercise. That's remarkable. I've never thought of humming as anything meaningful, just something people do without thinking, like when they're bored or driving. And yet it's ancient. In Japanese practice and in Indian traditions, sound has been used for centuries to quiet the body and settle the mind. Now modern research agrees, humming during a long, slow breath out lowers the heart rate, relaxes the blood vessels, and smooths brain activity. It even increases nitric oxide, which helps improve blood flow to the brain. So how does someone do it correctly? Is there a certain way you're supposed to hum? It's very simple. Breathe in gently through your nose. Then hum softly as you exhale, a light, steady sound. Just 1 or 2 minutes a day teaches your body how to relax on command. That almost feels like meditation, like you're using sound to talk directly to your nerves. Exactly. It bypasses thinking and brings your awareness back into your body. That's what true healing often needs. Not more information, but more attention. By the time many people reach their 60s, they feel disconnected from their own body. Techniques like this help repair that connection. It's not just calming, it helps you reclaim your sense of control over your health. That gentle hum becomes an anchor, A reminder that you're present, grounded, and still steering the ship. And over time, that changes how the whole system responds. It's like giving the nervous system a handshake, a signal that everything is working together. That's a beautiful description. And remember, people with high blood pressure, restless sleep, or cloudy thinking often have weak vagal tone. These are early warning signs. Humming, just like the tongue technique, gives the nervous system a quiet practice run for staying balanced. The more consistently you do it, the easier it becomes. I've noticed you keep repeating the word gentle. That must be intentional. It is. The nervous system isn't strengthened by force. It's strengthened by rhythm. It responds to repetition, calmness, and a sense of safety. These are the conditions that help the body return to balance. That's something our audience really needs to hear. We're always told to push harder, do more, add more. But maybe what we truly need is to listen more carefully. What's number 3? The third one, John, is something I call the neck reset. It's a slow, mindful movement that wakes up the baroreceptors, tiny pressure-sensing cells on both sides of the neck just above the collarbone. These sensors help control blood pressure, keep blood flowing properly to the brain, and assist the body in shifting between stress and relaxation. But as we get older, these receptors often become less sensitive, usually because years of tightness build up in the jaw, neck, or shoulders. And when they stop responding well, the brain receives mixed messages about what's happening inside the body. That confusion can quietly increase the risk of stroke. So you're telling me that something as ordinary as a stiff neck can interfere with the body's ability to manage pressure and circulation? Yes. And it happens far more often than people realize. We slump over our screens. We push our heads forward. We stop turning our necks the way we used to. Slowly, that tension accumulates. The baroreceptors get sluggish. The blood vessels lose flexibility. And the brain has to work harder to get the oxygen it needs. That's when people start feeling dizzy, foggy, or unsteady, but hardly anyone links it back to posture. So how do you help someone undo that? What exactly is the neck reset? It's extremely gentle. You can sit or stand, as long as your spine is upright. Take a slow breath in through your nose. As you breathe out, turn your head gradually to the left, only as far as feels comfortable. No pushing. Hold for a moment. Breathe in again. Then exhale and slowly rotate your head to the right. Finish with a light chin tuck, as though creating a little space in the back of your neck. Take one more deep breath. I can feel my shoulders loosening just listening to that. That's because movement combined with breath tells the body you're safe. Both the vagus nerve and the baroreceptors respond to slow, controlled motion. When the body senses safety, it stops overreacting. Blood pressure eases. Circulation improves. Inflammation settles down. The neck reset isn't just a stretch, it's a message, a quiet conversation with your own internal wiring. It almost sounds like you're teaching the nervous system a language it forgot. That's exactly what it is. Most of us stop speaking the body's language over time. But these tiny practices, the tongue placement, the humming breath, the neck release, they tap into ancient systems that already know how to protect us if we allow them to. I've seen older patients regain steadiness, think more clearly, and have fewer dizzy moments. Not because of something new we introduced, but because of what we helped restore. And the amazing thing is these practices cost nothing. They cost nothing, but they give back everything. There's real dignity in that. It reminds people that their bodies still know how to heal. In Japan, we say the body isn't a machine to be repaired, but a garden to be cared for. These practices are like gentle water and soft sunlight. Small, steady touches that keep life growing. And they don't just lower stroke risk, they rebuild trust in your own body. That's humbling to hear. People assume good health has to be loud or difficult. But you're saying quiet can be just as powerful. Quiet is where the body listens. Noise hides the deeper imbalance. But these small, quiet habits, practiced daily, Retrain the system not only to protect itself but to stay present. And these 3 techniques you've taught, they're not fancy. No gadgets, no apps, no special tech. Just simple tools anyone can use. Exactly. And now that we've walked through them, the question becomes, where do you start? The answer is simple. Choose one. The tongue placement, the humming breath, or the neck reset. Pick whichever feels easiest. What matters isn't doing all 3 perfectly. It's doing one consistently. Once that rhythm becomes part of your day, the body naturally begins to want more. That's such a powerful way to think about it, not as tasks to complete, but as an ongoing conversation with your health. Precisely. These aren't chores. They're invitations. Invitations to slow down, reconnect, and listen inward before something goes wrong. And once people feel even a small shift, they remember what stability feels like. That steadiness was never gone. It was simply buried under years of tension and noise. These practices help clear the way back. That's incredibly reassuring for our listeners. If you found this episode helpful, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment letting us know you made it all the way through. We love seeing who stays with us to the end. We'll see you in the next episode.